Welcome to this first video on using earthtunneling.com. You may have already seen a video on calibrating your sensors for using the app. This video will explain how to start using it. I will cover what the app does and why I put it together. I will go over the main menu and the key features there. Finally, I will cover the camera and tracker settings menu. This should get you to a point where it's easier to start playing around and you can learn it that way. I will put together further videos to explain other sections of the app, but this video should give you a good grounding to get you started. Earthtunneling.com is in its early days, and I am very keen to hear about any questions you may have, or maybe any ideas that you want to put forward. Please let me know. So, now let's look at the first screen you will see when you load earthtunneling.com. So, this is the opening screen. On the right of this video, you can see the full phone layout. The rest of the screen is a zoomed section that we will be focusing on. Keep your eye out for animations indicating button presses during this video. So, why did I build this? It's very simple. My niece once asked me about digging through the earth all the way to Australia. I was talking to her about this, and then she followed up with, "What if you dig over there in that direction, pointing diagonally through the earth?" I really didn't know the answer to that, but I really wanted to find out. So that is where this started. So how does this app answer that question? See that blue dot moving around the globe? That dot shows where a straight line from your phone's rear camera would emerge if it could travel through the earth. I originally built this to solve that question, but as you'll see, I've added a little bit more to this. Let's start with the main menu. There's an option here that will make using the app so much easier. Click on the image in the top left and a floating menu appears. You can move this menu anywhere on the screen, which is handy when enabling features on the map. The option I am talking about here is the full screen mode. This keeps the web page full screen and locks the orientation of the page to portrait. This means that when you are moving your phone around, pointing in different directions, the orientation will remain fixed. If I rotate my phone while this feature is not set, you can see what it causes. It's not very pleasant at all. To switch this on, we click the checkbox here. You'll see the page slightly rejigs itself and we're full screen, and it's locked. If you pay attention to the map, you can see the pointer moving around. You can see that the orientation of the screen and the page does not alter. Now let's take a look at the Show Earth Layers section. If we click here, we can expand it. You'll see that Surface is already ticked. We have Mantle, Outer Core and Inner Core. If I unclick the Surface layer first, we'll see just the wire mesh. Now if I click on the inner core, the outer core, and the mantle, you can see these appearing in the wire mesh. I originally added these as a bit of an experiment, but thought I'd keep them once they were there. I'll close these now or switch them off, and I'll also switch on the surface layer again so that we can get back the normal Earth look. The targeting video screen can be switched on using this checkbox here. It is available for multiple features in the app, but you can also start it manually to see exactly where you're pointing when you're playing around with the app. You'll notice that I briefly blurred a bit of the video there, mainly because I accidentally ended up filming my other half's dressing table. She wasn't impressed. Now I'll switch off the targeting video and switch on the transparency slider. The transparency slider can be useful if you don't want complete transparency and don't want a completely solid map. It gives you an in-between which allows you to see targets that are maybe underground or targets that are on the other side of the earth while you're navigating. There are also a couple of buttons on the main menu. The Load Targets Game button and the Sensor Config button. I'm not going to go into them in this video, but we'll cover them in the future. The final menu we're going to look at in this video is the Camera Target Tracker Settings menu. You access it by pressing the blue dot in the top left corner. We have Camera Target, Tracker Point Distance options, and manual tracker distance. The camera target selects the view that you see now. At the moment we're viewing the selected target. The tracker point distance option allows you to set how far away from the camera the tracker point is. At the moment we have it set to Earth's surface. Earth's surface means that the tracker point will always remain tightly coupled to the Earth's surface. Manual tracker distance is greyed out unless it is selected by the tracker point distance option. If we click on the camera target drop down first, we get the options of Selected Target, Nothing, Explore Anywhere, and Explore Your Position. At the moment we have Selected Target. Let's change it to Nothing. As you'll see, when we select Nothing, the camera doesn't move around, it's static. We have to move the camera by pushing the map around. Next, let's look at Explore Anywhere. The Explore Anywhere option takes the camera from its current position and places it on the Earth so that you have a first-person perspective. And last we have the Explore Your Position option. If you select this one, it takes you to your current position and allows you to have a first-person perspective from where you were standing. So for example, if you wanted to find a satellite like the International Space Station, then you can select that and you could be looking around in the night sky to see where you should be looking. I just realised I've still got the transparency slider there. Let me just close that. Now let's look at the Tracker Pointer Distance option. If we bring up the Camera Target Tracker Settings menu and click on the Tracker Point Distance option drop-down, then select Distance to Target, we can see how that works. Now if we go to the Target section and select the International Space Station option, which is about 400 kilometers above the Earth, we can see the blue tracker icon off the ground this time, in the air or in space, and if we click on it, we can see its altitude, longitude and latitude. Pay attention to the altitude. This is measured in meters. The tracker icon is represented as being the same distance away from the source as the International Space Station is, but not in the same direction. We are simply using the distance from point to point. If we look at the straight line distance metric for the International Space Station, we can see that from the source to the International Space Station, it is 9,770 kilometers, 618 meters. If we now go and check the metrics for the tracker position, we can see that the straight line distance is 9,818 kilometers away from the source. Now we have to bear in mind that the International Space Station is always moving, so let's quickly go back and check that again. As you can see, 9818. Let's go back to the Camera Target Tracker Settings menu again and click on the Tracker Point Distance option to take us to Manual Distance. Once we've selected this, you can see that the Manual Tracker Distance option is made available to edit. When you click on this, the number pad will come up. Remember that this is in meters and I'm selecting 100 kilometers here, or 100,000 meters. If we look at the metrics for the tracker pointer, we can see that this is fluctuating between 100,000 meters and 99,999.99 recurring. Because of the calculations involved with this, you will get these slight fluctuations. We can see here the tracker point's current position in geodetic, geocentric and ET coordinates, and we can compare the geodetic coordinates shown here to the coordinates that you could bring up on the map screen by simply clicking on the tracker point. Keep in mind that the coordinates that come up on the map screen are not in real time. What's been covered in this video has hopefully given you enough information to be able to start playing around with earthtunneling.com. However, I'm aware I may not have covered absolutely everything that you require, so please do let me know if there's anything that you feel I've missed, or, as I've said before, if there's anything that you would like to have added to this app. This is a work in progress and it will evolve.